Okay, so have you heard that phrase going around, you'll own nothing and be happy? It's kind of creepy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty unsettling for sure.
It makes you want to like check your, lease agreement, your Spotify subscription, even your closet, right? Like
Right.
everything's shifting away from owning to just, well, just accessing stuff temporarily.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there.
What's the deal with that? Is it just a coincidence or is there something bigger at play here?
It's a great question, and it's one we're going to dig into today.
Right, because this trend, it's reshaping our relationship with ownership
Exactly.
and by extension our certain control freedom, all that good stuff.
That's it in a nutshell.
We're going deep today into what it actually means to own less and how that impacts us as individuals, and then zooming out, as a whole society.
Right on.
And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi plot. This is happening right now.
Oh, yeah, it's unfolding all around us.
And it's not just affecting the rich and famous. It feels like everyone's getting squeezed.
You're absolutely right. It's not a niche issue.
Yeah.
The middle class, the folks who were once the symbol of, stability, achieving that American dream,
Right.
they're facing a whole new reality.
Yeah, think back a generation or two ago. A single income could get you a house, a car, a
Yeah,
future.
you could build a life on that single income.
Exactly. Now, even with two incomes, a lot of people are struggling to even save for a down payment.
Yeah, it's a struggle just to keep up with the rising cost of everything.
It's tough to watch that traditional idea of success, slip away for so many.
It is.
And then there's the younger generation, the millennials and Gen Z.
Oh, yeah, they've got a whole different set of challenges.
They're saddled with student debt, facing insane rents,
Absolutely.
and dealing with a job market that just feels like a constant game of whack-a-mole.
Right, it's like one gig to the next.
Yeah, it's a completely different ballgame for them compared to their parents or grandparents.
No question about it.
Homeownership, which, was once seen as this rite of passage into adulthood,
Yeah, you buy a house, you settle down, you start a family.
it feels out of reach for so many of them.
For a lot of them, it feels like a pipe dream.
They're stuck in this cycle of renting, just facing this harsh reality that, maybe their financial struggles are actively preventing them from ever owning a piece of the pie.
That's a really tough pill to swallow.
And it's not just about homes, is it? It feels like we're all slowly being nudged toward this subscription-based life
Oh,
for
absolutely.
practically everything.
Yeah, think about it. Streaming services,
Carly says,
furniture rentals.
I mean, is there anything we don't subscribe to these days?
It's getting harder and harder to find things you actually own outright.
And here's the thing, right? This shift isn't just about convenience.
You got it.
It's about control.
That's the key takeaway here.
You're constantly paying for access, but you never actually own the thing itself.
It's like you're always one missed payment away from losing it.
It creates this feeling of dependence, both financially and psychologically.
It really messes with your sense of security.
That lack of control is a really good point.
Something we need to be more aware of.
And it goes way beyond just physical stuff, right?
Right.
We're essentially renting our digital lives, too,
Yeah, our data is being collected and monetized.
often without us truly understanding what's happening.
It's like this whole hidden economy running in the background.
It's this underlying feeling of powerlessness that comes with constantly borrowing and renting.
Yeah, you're always at someone else's mercy.
From our homes to our, digital footprint, we're giving up a little bit of our autonomy with every subscription.
Every click, every online interaction.
So what's fueling this whole trend?
That's the million-dollar question.
Is it just the natural evolution of how markets work? Or is there something more deliberate going on?
I think it's a bit both, to be honest.
Okay, so let's peel back the layers here and look at the systemic issues at play.
We need to get to the root of the problem.
And trust me, they're complex and interconnected.
Oh, yeah, there's no easy answers here.
One of the key factors is the financialization of housing.
Absolutely.
Investment firms are buying up properties left and right, driving up prices, making it impossible for many individuals to even compete.
They're turning housing into a commodity.
It's like housing has become just another asset for Wall Street to trade instead of a basic human need.
Yeah, the human element is getting lost in all of this.
It creates this system where people are priced out, forced into being permanent renters.
It's like the game is rigged against them.
Then you add in the debt, trapped student loans, credit cards, all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah, the debt keeps people chained to the system.
And it keeps people financially handcuffed, unable to build any real wealth.
It's a vicious cycle.
You need a good education to get a decent job.
But then you're saddled with debt that prevents you from achieving any real financial stability.
And let's not forget about the sharing economy.
Right, the so-called sharing economy.
It's often presented as this, efficient, sustainable model.
And it does have its benefits, I'll give it that.
But it also cultivates a culture of dependence.
You're always relying on someone else's
Someone
platform.
else's assets, someone else's rule.
It's like the illusion of freedom.
But underneath it's just another layer of control. You're constantly at the mercy of whoever owns the platform or provides the service.
Yeah, you're not really in control.
And all of this lack of ownership has consequences that go way beyond just our wallets.
Oh yeah, this is about more than just money.
It impacts our sense of agency, our mental well-being.
Our ability to plan for the future.
So we're not just talking about material possessions.
This is about something much deeper.
We're talking about our sense of self, our place in the world.
Our ability to shape our own destiny.
The erosion of ownership has profound implications for how we live,
How we relate to each other.
how we perceive our own capabilities.
It really gets to the core of what it means to be human.
It raises a really important question. What does it mean to be truly free and empowered in a world where you own less and less?
That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves.
I remember when I bought my first car.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
It was this beat-up old thing,
I bet it was.
but it was mine.
That's all that matters.
And I felt this incredible sense of pride,
Right.
like I'd achieved something.
Like you were a real adult.
Yeah, like I had a little piece of independence.
That feeling of autonomy is so important.
I wonder if future generations will even have those
It's
opportunities
a valid concern.
to feel that kind of ownership pride.
To have that sense of accomplishment.
That's a powerful anecdote.
It really is.
And it highlights the psychological and emotional dimensions of ownership.
It's not just about the stuff itself, it's about what it represents.
Yeah, it's about having a stake in something, about having the ability to shape your environment, to build a legacy,
It's about feeling empowered, not just as consumers.
but as creators and contributors.
That's a crucial distinction.
So we've laid out the problem, this creeping trend of reduced ownership and all its potential downsides.
We've painted a pretty bleak picture.
But the big question is, can we reclaim ownership?
That's what we need to figure out.
Is there any way to push back against this tide?
I believe there is, but it's not going to be easy.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
Well, first we need a shift in mindset.
What are some practical steps people can take to reclaim ownership in their lives?
It starts with recognizing that you will own nothing is not some inevitable fate.
We have the power to choose a different path
A path that prioritizes ownership autonomy.
and genuine well-being.
Exactly. We need to start thinking about ownership not just as a financial transaction, but as a fundamental aspect of freedom and self-determination.
I love that freedom and self-determination.
That's what it's all about.
So where do we go from here?
Well, that's a conversation for another time.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll explore specific strategies for reclaiming ownership in your life.
We'll get into the nitty-gritty of how to take back control.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's get practical and talk strategies for taking back ownership.
Yeah, we talked about, big ideas, financial independence, minimalism, digital ownership, all that.
Right, we laid the groundwork.
Now time to make it real. How do we actually put these ideas into practice?
So let's start with finances, like getting a grip on where your money's going.
Okay, so tracking spending, like budgeting.
Yeah, track for a month, categorize it, see if there's areas to cut back.
I think budgeting feels restrictive to a lot of people.
What if we look at it differently, like a roadmap to freedom?
Ooh, I like that.
It's about conscious choices, aligning your spending with what truly matters to you.
So empowerment, not deprivation.
Exactly. And once you got that clear picture, you can allocate funds towards savings and investments.
Right, because just stashing money in a regular savings account, that's not going to cut it.
No way inflation eats that up.
Got to explore investments then, stocks, bonds, real estate, all that.
Those are the classics, but there's also alternative investments like precious metals, even cryptocurrencies.
Crypto, that feels risky.
Can be volatile, yeah, but also potential for big returns.
Key is to research, understand the risks,
Absolutely, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify.
and maybe get advice from a financial expert if you're not sure.
Good call. There are resources to help you make smart choices.
Okay, so budgeting, investing. What about debt? Student loans especially can feel overwhelming.
Yeah, huge challenge, but not impossible.
So what do we do?
Start with a debt repayment plan. Tackle those high-interest debts first.
I've heard of snowball method, avalanche method. Are those good?
Worth exploring, see what fits your situation best.
And don't be afraid to talk to lenders, negotiate, maybe refinance or consolidate.
Right. Sometimes a simple conversation can make all the difference.
Okay, so finances tackled, now onto intentional minimalism.
Love this concept.
It's not about living in a stark empty space though, right?
No, it's about curating your life, things that bring joy, value, letting go of the rest.
Quality over quality.
Exactly. Experiences matter more than just accumulating stuff.
So start by decluttering our homes.
Go through your belongings, ask, do I use this? Does it make me happy? Does it serve a purpose?
I struggle to let go of things, especially sentimental stuff.
I hear you, but what if it's creating space for something new and better?
Like freedom from the weight of all that stuff.
Yeah, and this applies beyond physical stuff, your digital life commitments, relationships too.
Simplify, streamline.
Create a life that's more aligned with your
Not
values.
the values consumer culture pushes on us.
Exactly. Which brings us to digital ownership.
Taking control online, protecting data, being mindful of our digital footprint.
Right, so let's talk action steps. What can we actually do?
Yeah, give me the to-do list.
Fucked up, review those privacy settings on social media?
Okay, like limiting information shared, being careful what we post.
Exactly. And do you really need 500 friends on Facebook? Be intentional with connection?
It's about being deliberate, not just passively scrolling.
Yes. And explore alternatives, privacy-focused browsers, search engines, email providers,
VPNs too for extra security.
especially on public Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, hacker heaven.
Be mindful of apps too, what permissions they ask for, what data they collect.
Like a digital detox, cleaning out the clutter.
Love that analogy. And speaking of detoxing, disconnect sometimes.
Get off screens, engage with the real world,
Reconnect with yourself and your surroundings, reclaim your time and attention.
which are super valuable.
Leading us perfectly into self-reliance.
Skills and knowledge to do things ourselves, less dependence on systems.
Resourcefulness, adaptability, resilience.
So how do we get there?
Identify areas where you rely on others, cooking, repairs, basic maintenance.
Then learn. Online tutorials, workshops, classes, ask a friend.
Embrace that DIY mindset, find solutions yourself.
Could even extend to growing food, generating energy, starting a business.
Exactly, creating a more self-sufficient lifestyle.
I tried growing tomatoes in my apartment once. It didn't quite work out.
We all start somewhere. The trying is what matters.
It's all about taking back control, not just stuff, but our lives, our choices, our futures.
That's the heart of reclaiming ownership, creating a life that's more you.
More fulfilling, more empowering.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't about being perfect overnight.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Small steps, gradual changes, building momentum.
A marathon, not a sprint.
Progress, not perfection. And there'll be bumps along the way. It's part of it.
And we don't have to go to alone, right?
Absolutely. Lean on friends, family, online communities, even professionals.
Builds a support network.
People who share your values and encourage you on this journey.
Sometimes just talking it out helps.
100%.
So as we wrap up this part, I want to leave you with this question. What's that first step for you?
What small action can you take today to move towards greater ownership in your life?
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive.
The grand finale.
We've talked about the personal impacts, the steps to take back control.
The how-to guide for reclaiming ownership.
Now it's time to zoom out, look at the bigger picture.
Right, the societal level.
What happens to society as a whole when individuals own less and less?
It's a big question, a crucial one.
What are the potential consequences on a broader scale?
That's what keeps me up at night sometimes.
Oh yeah.
If these trends continues unchecked, the financialization of everything, the rise of the renter class.
More and more dependence on corporations.
It paints some pretty concerning scenarios.
Okay, paint me a picture then. Worst case scenario, where do we end up?
Well, one of the most alarming possibilities is a widening wealth gap.
The rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
Essentially, as assets concentrate in the hands of a few, the investors, corporations, the ultra-wealthy.
We risk creating a society of haves and have-nots, even more extreme than what we see now.
And it's not just about stuff, it's about power.
Right, the power that comes with owning assets, having influence.
Exactly, and as that power concentrates, it erodes democratic values.
The needs of the many become less important than the interests of the few.
We see hints of this already in housing policies, corporate lobbying.
It's like everyday people have less and less say.
Their voices are getting drowned out.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. You will own nothing, and those who already own everything will just keep getting more.
A bleak outlook, for sure.
But it's not just the economics, right?
No, it goes deeper than that.
There's social and cultural implications too.
One thing that worries me is social unrest and instability.
When people feel like they've got no stake in the system,
Like the deck's stacked against them.
it breeds resentment, frustration.
We're already seeing that, aren't we?
The rise of populism, distrust in institutions, all this political polarization.
It all ties back to economic anxiety, feeling powerless.
People are feeling left behind.
And as that grows, it becomes harder to build a cohesive society.
We lose that sense of shared purpose, shared responsibility.
That social fabric starts to fray.
And what about innovation, entrepreneurship, all that?
That takes a hit, too.
When people are struggling just to get by, they're less likely to take risks, start businesses.
They're in survival mode, not creative mode.
So this impacts the whole economy, not just individuals.
The society that can't innovate stagnates, it can't adapt.
Okay, we've painted a pretty grim picture here.
It's not all doom and gloom, though.
We're not just here to be depressing.
Right, we want to talk solutions, alternative models.
A more hopeful vision for the future.
And the good news is those models are emerging.
We've touched on them. cooperative ownership, self-sustaining communities, decentralized finance.
People pushing back, creating systems that put human needs first.
It's like a grassroots revolution.
A reclaiming of power from those centralized institutions.
Give me some concrete examples. What are the most promising things you're seeing?
Platform cooperatives are really interesting.
Okay, remind me what those are.
Think ride-sharing food delivery, those online platforms.
But instead of being controlled by a few giant tech companies.
They're owned and governed by the people who use them.
So the workers, the users, they have the power.
A more democratic and equitable model.
I'm seeing more and more interest in these alternatives.
Especially among younger generations.
They're the ones inheriting this mess.
They're looking for different ways of doing things.
This brings us full circle to that phrase, you will own nothing and be happy.
The idea that it's inevitable.
But people are rejecting that. They want ownership. They want agency.
They don't want to be just passive consumers, renters, subscribers.
They want to shape their lives, their world.
That's the heart of it all.
We have a choice. We don't have to accept a status quo.
We can create something different, something better.
It starts you awareness with understanding what's going on.
With recognizing that this you will own nothing narrative, it's not a done deal.
It's a challenge, a call to action.
To reclaim ownership, to build a future where everyone can thrive.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this question. What will you own?
What will you create? What will you contribute to a world where ownership isn't a privilege, but a right?
This has been an incredible conversation, truly.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
I hope it sparked some ideas, inspiration for our listeners.
To take action, to question, to build a better future.
Remember, the future is not set in stone.
We have the power to shape it together.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, keep taking action.
Ladies and gentlemen, hey, what do you think of this? Hey man, sure talk. This is how they do. I think it's time for everybody to be happy at the same time. Cause when they say, it's so real close to the dream that they sold you. The motto: everything you got, you gave it away for nothing. Now they got it all and they giving you nothing. Everything you own, it belong to somebody. You'll be so happy, like here, take all of my things. Gone, like a wedding ring. Heaven sent me, and you were so knowing of what happened. I love this world that we live in, full of good things and nobody with it. They got it all and we getting business, and they do it so God-fearing. You will own nothing and be happy, for sure. You will own nothing and be happy, for sure. You will own nothing and be happy, for sure. You will own nothing and be happy. 5-finger discount at the bodega. Give me my 5th down, I ain't crawled yet. 4 kids crying and I need bait for it. 3 bills down, I can solve that. 2 arms, I can carry them all. What happens when they ask for more? And me without them, it's a big fat hell no. Can you smell my Manolo? Sand to the beach, unless we're making some black shit. Leech my covers, they gotta get from under. Multiple pound of my dead granddaddy's boxes. I guess he had foresight. And a man like me don't leave it to happenstance. Like Nacha, my waist tight, like the strings on a banjo. Funky like a lick on a saxophone. And my hair long and thick, I'm a pretty true. My waist tight, like the strings on a banjo. Funky like a lick on a saxophone. And my hair long and thick, I'm a pretty true. Like the strings on a banjo, funky like the lick on